So we're starting the day in Tribeca again. I know I've done a lot of videos recently about Tribeca, but honestly, there's just so many galleries in Tribeca now. It's easy to do multiple videos of all the shows. And the first stop of the day is Postmasters Gallery to see this little cutie. His name is Bumper. He's keeping guard of the gallery. All right, now back to business. This is an exhibit from the artist Marta Kucsora titled Supernatural. And honestly, the name is super fitting because these works almost look like photographs from outer space of like galaxies exploding. And Marta is a Hungarian artist, and this is not only her first New York City exhibit, but this is actually her first United States exhibit. And she's an abstract artist through and through. Postmasters so accurately described her work as a mix of Pollock's action, Frankenthaler's fluidity, and 1980s Richter's abstract spatiality, which I think is just the perfect way to describe all of this. All right, next stop, just a little bit up the street around the block, is James Cohan Gallery. And we're going to see this exhibit by Elias Sime. And I can instantly tell a work by Sime because he's known for using electronic materials like keys from a keyboard or circuit boards. And my inner tech nerd loves that so much. In this series of works, Elias introduces megaphones in order to signify the way that information can be successfully or unsuccessfully transmitted. An example of this in culture can be the recent protests where citizens, use megaphones to get their messages across, but in contrast, the police force also uses megaphones to communicate with crowds. And Sime states that as technology connects people virtually and physically from one end of the world to the other, unfiltered and sensational speeches are spread, creating confusion and doubting the truth. The next stop of the day is a Freight and Volume's brand new gallery space in Tribeca. I mentioned it a few videos ago, so I'm super excited to actually take you inside to see the new space. And honestly, it is so beautiful. I love the wood floors, the brick walls. I love the space in the back where you can read catalogs. And I really love this colorful exhibit by Peter Williams. And this exhibit is titled Black Exodus, and in it, Williams is exploring how our presence to others and to history is mediated by technology. Love that, another exhibit about technology. But this exhibit is also about Afrofuturism. And if you're not sure what Afrofuturism is, it is a cultural, and this is according to Wikipedia, it's a cultural aesthetic, a philosophy of science, and philosophy of history that explores the developing intersection of African diaspora culture with technology. And the gallery states that while his personal take on Afrofuturism often comes off as childlike and humorous, the viewer can read into his otherworldly vistas the labors that have to be reckoned with to realize a new collective identity and freedom. Now we've headed over to Chinatown to see an exhibit by Farley Aguilar at Lyles and King Gallery. And in this exhibit, he creates a platform for key individuals or events in the last century. And he works off of pictures from history and then translates the figures and scenes into these masterpieces, honestly, that are made up of his signature bright color palette and textures. And the show features 10 works that he's created over the past 2 years. And when he chooses a subject matter to paint, he picks them in order to restore dignity to those that have been denied it, and to destabilize the posture of those responsible for withholding it. And Aguilar actually majored in philosophy in college, so it's really clear that he leverages his background when creating his works to question society and our relationship to one another and the systems that we're part of. And I think that's why, obviously, aside from aesthetically how incredible his works are, I love that extra mindful layer that he includes, that deepness in his works. In the outdoor space of the gallery, there's another exhibit by Daniel T. Gaitor-Lomack, and I love this work. Actually, this is one of my favorites. This is in reference to Mark Rothko's works. It's titled Number 18, Number 33, but instead of just like plain pigments and paintings, he's using freezer pops. And Daniel does this. He combines strong imagery, strong performance art in this incredibly modern and fresh sort of pop art way. And he's actually a current resident at Next Haven, which I've talked about before. It's co-founded by Titus Kaphar. This next exhibit is one that honestly I've been looking forward to for so long. This is Anna Park's debut New York solo exhibit, that's a mouthful, at Half Gallery. And Anna is famous for, not obviously just this, but I think this is a fun fact in her history, is that she's famous for selling a work to cause when she was still in art school. And honestly, she's caught the attention of the art world ever since. I've seen her works in tons of shows, from The Hole to Downs and Ross, and I was so excited to see a solo show of hers. And this exhibit is titled Pluck Me Tender, and it features her large-scale charcoal works that fall into my personal favorite category of art, abstract figuratism. The last stop of the day is to Rachel Uffner Gallery to see another show. I know I keep saying this, that I've just been so excited to see. Honestly, every exhibit I featured in this video, I'm just like over the moon about. And this exhibit is by Arghavan Khosravi, and it's titled In Between Places and features work the artist made in the past year during quarantine. And Khosravi is an Iran-born artist, and she paints subjects that are kind of set in the present day that are confronting her cultural and socio-political past. Her paintings often reflect her experiences growing up and living in Iran, where honestly personal freedom is constrained by ideological autocracy. She's also known for her use of trompe l'oeil. I'm killing these French pronunciations, but it's essentially when something looks 3D when it's not. And she really pushes the boundaries of optical illusion, even just beyond the traditional trompe l'oeil. And I'm obsessed. And she's also known for incorporating Persian textiles into her works as well, and then mixing them with modern elements such as like band-aids or Apple Watches. So yeah, keep an eye out for any of those modern elements that you can see. As always, thanks so much for coming along with me. Let me know which exhibit was your favorite. It's a hard one. I know this is definitely a tough one. So many good ones in this video. And please subscribe if you haven't. It'll just keep you updated on every time I put out new videos. And yeah, you can just get the latest and the greatest. I will see you guys next time.